Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Mili reaction. Nobody really asked for this one, but I was just curious. I didn't have any other songs from Limbus Company or anything that people had requested from the last time, so I was just kind of like, hey, let's scroll through Mili's discography and see what else they have available, and I saw this one, Year N, and it's apparently the opening to Promise of Wizard, which I don't think I ever watched, despite me watching a lot of anime every season. I just never picked this one up, so I don't know what to expect out of this song, what the world's like, aside from the word wizard, so I guess without further ado, let's go! Alright, kind of going medieval, alright? I have a tone now.
Pot of charcoal ink, paper weights, friction on the page, hoping it will finally reach you someday. Like the distant lights in the escape, embrace.
I never really paid attention much to it, but Mili loves doing that same like lyrical vocal pattern. Cassie Wei has a type. It's very unique to them though. I like it a lot for that. But it's also very consistent between songs.
If our hearts remain lonely, will you make a promise to me? Let the spring blossom, let summer dance, let autumn sing a song. Winter yarn echoes around and round, with you I sing along.
The approach is weird on this one. Oh, okay, even weirder.
Each and every flower in me light a tiny fire.
Interesting, alright. Just going for that. The whole section of the Tulalidas.
I hate to admit, their stupid, embarrassing words are what cheered me up when I was down.
Mili always has a way of making me speechless.
I know we're determined to let go everything and easy.
And I think it's mostly confusion.
It was sweet, then it felt heavy. Since when we started building happiness upon sacrifices.
Ooh,
Despite
love that dynamic swell there.
worries, it is time to face our reality. Sometimes goodbyes are necessary. Sometimes goodbyes are necessary. So we start another journey, letting time repair our wounded.
God, the tone though is...
Hearts remain loving.
What's going on, Mili? It's not bad, but there's something about it. The accents that are in there, like just the percussion stuff.
I pick up the quill, filling up the pages. Do-di-do-da-di-da. Our stories untold.
God, it's so interesting. Every single time I hear a Mili song, I'm left confused on what I should say. Because I feel like I don't have the full story until it's done, which is so weird to me. That's almost never a thing I have to deal with. The one constant that Mili has going for them is the whimsical energy of every single song they put together. I've heard a bunch of their music through all of the Limbus Company stuff I've talked about, and I've heard a few of their other independent stuff as well, and every single time it has this like flighty energy to it that I can't get over, but also I am consistently befuddled. I'm confused every single time I listen to one of them because it's hard for me to decipher the tone, the purpose, the emotion behind them unless I'm taking the lyrics pretty seriously. For this one, it was very much the same issue. I was listening to it, I was trying to decide what the story was going to be about, but like I mentioned with like even the lyrics having the same kind of constant pace to them, the same patterning, the same choices made there, I can never really decipher, unless I take things literally, what is going to be happening in the story and the world that they're forming in the songs. I think it's a unique tone to them, though, the fact that they're able to do that in a way that is so uniquely them. Like, every other time I hear that, it's a negative, because every single time you hear, oh, it sounds the same, that's a negative. But for Mili, for whatever reason, it's almost like a constant thing. It's like their selling point, the fact that they have this very unique but also very tight-knit sound that they're going for. And I'm not entirely sure if I should see that as a negative or a positive. I've talked about this many times before, but just in lighter terms, in this one, since I'm hearing something completely separated from the Limbus storyline, and I don't have any backstory on what these characters are in this world and how the world that they're forming here is supposed to be, I'm left without any context, even more so than usual. I don't even have a starting point in this one, and I'm realizing more things about specifically Mili's work as an individual entity, as a band, as a group, as themselves. There are things that they're doing that by all means shouldn't work. They should not be consistent like this. You feel like you should be hearing more variety from a band and having more of that going on, more differences going on in the stories and the musicality throughout. But there are so many consistent things in every single song that they do that makes me go, okay, well, it's clearly Mili, but also it's unapologetically Mili. I feel like that's why it's so comparatively good when you put it up against other groups that have that sameness that just doesn't hit the same, and it's like, oh, it's the same exact song every time, and it gets a little boring. For this, for them, for some reason, and I wish I could tell you why, it doesn't hit that way. My best guess is that maybe through the songs and the songwriting, there are little nuggets of differences. They change just enough to make you go, oh, that's different. That's a different world. That's a different feel. That's a different sound. It's like that one moment in there where I was like, oh, they have that cool swell. It's like these tiny little things, just one-off bits of musicality that feel like they're orchestrating something that's unique to itself. But also, again, so many of those things have been done before that it's just clearly their identity as a group. It's really interesting. I don't think I've ever come across a group that's given me that feeling, because usually it's, oh, you're varied enough in your sound and approach that you don't sound like you're making the same thing every single time, or it's, oh, it's the exact same song every single time with very little differences. For them, I think they balance that impossibly thin razor's edge of just hitting the song, getting the point across, and sounding the same, but having just enough accentual things that make you feel like you're listening to a new experience. For this one, I was struggling to figure out what the tone of the song was and the tone of the world, because tonally the song was confusing for me. Like, at the beginning I was like, oh, it's a medieval song, you're kind of getting those vibes in there. It has those chords that were popular in that time period, and of course they're utilizing that. And then it started to feel more like a celebration, like it was a party. We had these big percussive hits, these things that are supposed to sound maybe like the fireworks in the background of the picture that was there. It's like, okay, well, now we've got that, so are we in like a medieval party? But then they broke it down and had like a very personal, emotional little beat in there, which they do in a lot of songs, but I think that's really where Mili shines, is bringing those emotions to the table and putting that out on the tray for you just very obviously. And I like that they do that. But also, I was like, okay, so is this a happy place or is this a sad place? Is this something that's supposed to reflect the main character? That would be kind of the most obvious thing there, is like, maybe this character is struggling a little bit. Maybe they were a fish out of water situation. They feel like they don't belong because you have this giant bombastic sound, this huge tone and energy, something that's signifying a grand reveal that they were not expecting, and it threw them off. But then also maybe reflecting on that later, dealing with that stress or relating to somebody, finally making a friend or something like that, and then having that relationship stressed for whatever reason, having that strain in there, because you got to have a little bit of drama, otherwise a story really doesn't tend to sit well for most people. But that's why I'm kind of confused with this one. It's not just the lack of me knowing what the characters are and what the story is doing, it's also just that the song itself felt like it was never quite settling down. Even when it had those lower moments, it then picked them up again. So I'm like, okay, where are we? Who are we? What's going on? And it feels a little bit tonally confused. Weirdly enough, I think a sound like this would work really well for something like Frieren, that anime. I think this would actually fit really well as like the ending or opening for one of those shows, or at least Mili's sound as a whole would kind of fit for that. Not specifically this song, maybe just due to the lyrical differences there. It doesn't really make sense, but you see what I mean. But for this, because I don't know the world and don't know what to expect out of it, it's giving me a little bit of an image, but also it's Mili. And Mili does their thing so well, so incorrectly, so correctly, all at the same time, and I'm confused about them as a group as a whole. I need to learn like more about how they work for me to understand where they're coming from for songs like this because of that tonal confusion. There was clearly a direction going on. I don't want to make it sound like they didn't have an idea of what they wanted to do here, but also because Mili is Mili and they tend to just kind of, I guess, thrive in that space of like that liminal space of not really knowing and making that clear. It makes me want to ask questions, which if I'm going to break it down to myself, that's kind of the best way to have an opening, to have something that asks questions and kind of makes it confusing, because while it may be spelling things out for people who know the context, for people who don't, it kind of makes you want to dive deeper and explore more. So maybe I'll have to dive into this show and figure out what the world's about, because it's not necessarily old by any means. I would figure it's probably still airing right now, actually. So I maybe should give it a shot. But again, it's something with Mili specifically, not even necessarily the song itself, that's just kind of throwing me off today. I don't know, man. This is one of those songs that's going to make me like stay awake at night, just thinking about what did they mean? What was the context? What was the focus and the goal for this song? Even though it's probably not that deep. But I think I'll do my brain and your ears a favor and stop yapping. So thank you all so very much for watching and sitting through all this. If you did, if you want to see more stuff, if you have something else you want me to get to, drop it down in the comments below. Like I said, I didn't really have much going on for Limbus Company or Project Moon stuff this time. So if you have something from that specifically, drop it in the comments below so I can utilize this video to pull something for the next one. And otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me to see more yapping about music later, you know how to do all that. And I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!